one of them knocking out the other. That's the only way about it.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see, I like his name, icantpauseitmom. I haven't had a chance to see him play, so I really don't know. I can't, usually I like to make a little bit of a prediction, right? But I really can't because I haven't seen any of his games.
Right.
So it's mystery man. It's kind of really exciting right now. Who is this man?
Well, we're about to find out here. Let's see who they get picked up. Gonna have to see if he plays the old NA. I almost wanted to say try-hard card there, but we've actually seen a lot of really cool plays out of Slash, and it still makes me really happy anytime we see her get pulled out. But so far, pretty standard. Ranger, Nyx, and Visor. Are we going to see somebody heavier come out? Yeah, it's going to be Scale Bear. No huge surprises there as we go back into Blood Covenant.
Yeah,
but yeah, like you said, we haven't seen these guys play much just yet, so we're going to get to experience, and I'm going to have to figure out how to say icantpauseitmom 15 times very quickly in the same minute.
I'm gonna watch icantpauseitmom for a few minutes here to start off, and I think I'll know rather quickly whether or not how competitive this match is going to be. But
yeah,
he's worked his way through on I looked at his other account. I think he has he was level 20 something on his real account. See all the look at this shouting out.
Shout out to my boys Scissor, Larry, etc., etc. Yeah, I mean these guys have been kind of sticking together. I'm sure they're all practicing together as well, sharpening each other up and getting them ready for this very point.
Prepare to fight.
Okay, here we go.
Round begins in 3,
Welcome to a real FPS. Yeah.
1. Round 1, fight.
All right, but sentiments aside, we're going to get started here with icantpauseitmom getting the grab for armor, but it's going to be an immediate scuffle over the rocket launcher, a scuffle that Pause is able to win out by merit of that nail gun. But Mega's going to be up, and here comes the jump pad, or rather, Dire Orb play from discoRyne to get the pickup and get out of there before going back down for weapons. Did Disco manage to get a rocket launch out of that fight? Yeah, he did. Okay, good. Could be rockets on rockets here on the stairs. Neither player has a railgun yet, so there's not going to be much punishment on this armor as it comes back up. Well, there's the rail from Pause, but he's going to be incredibly weak. Even an errant rocket would take him down.
Yeah, really cheeky little slipgate by Disco. You know what I mean? Coming back for that Mega earlier, that was a big play actually.
He's still taking a lot of aggression here, trying to make it happen with the rails. Gets the switch over to rocket launcher at the wrong moment. As it's going to be discoRyne getting the first frag on the board with the hefty amount of Mega health left over. He's got a bit of armor to pick up, but he's got his sights set on the heavy armor, as it looks like icantpauseitmom's Nyx is going to be looking for both the Ghost Walk and a pickup of the railgun. But that one rail immediately makes discoRyne go, wait, maybe this armor just isn't worth it.
Yeah, actually, just like many of the other UT players we've seen, great aim from icantpauseitmom. Really excellent shots. I mean, the big reason Disco got that initial kill is he had good control and he had the superior stack, so he's got to be careful here. This guy's putting in some shots on him.
Absolutely, and pauseitmom is looking for a few more, and discoRyne's going to be ducking away from that, just keeping his back to the edge of the map before armor comes back up. He's going to be cutting himself out of that opportunity for the moment, but he's also not putting himself into a fight. He doesn't really know where pauseitmom's going to be coming from. I like these little moments where players just go quiet, trying to get some information about their enemy, but it happens so often. They go quiet, they turn one way, and their opponent is going to be right behind them. They've managed to out-juke each other here for the moment, but all this time, discoRyne is still cutting himself out of the play for the items. He can take this last armor away, but he's going to be giving his position away to Pause.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to catch him with some rockets. He knew Mega health was up, so he figured, right, he's going to grab it, and maybe he jumps, comes this route, so just trying to make some little guesstimation on where your opponent's going to go.
There's definitely a lot of respect for each other's rails at this point, but you can hear him up the jump pad and he's going, you know what, you go up there. Well, he's getting the drop. He didn't actually go for a Dire Orb or a rocket jump to get back up to the Mega. He's going to be stuck down here trying to get some pity shots out of pauseitmom. And so far, it's just not going his way. Wah. That's a rough shot, and Disco's got to once again back out of here. This armor is going to be difficult to play for, but he can move back up the stairs and get the last rail in on icantpauseitmom. That's going to force him down to his last fighter here. It's going to be a visor as we have a couple minutes left and a couple of frags. Oh, man, for icantpauseitmom to catch up.
Yeah, hitting some great shots, but when it matters, it just seems like Disco's capitalizing right on those killing opportunities and getting the finish. Even right there on the stairs, they were both fairly low. You know, if icantpauseitmom lands one more good shot, you know, he gets the kill there, but he didn't. You know, he's a credit to Disco for hitting the shots that he needs to. Oh, it just totally had him fooled there.
Yeah, he caught him out of the teleporter. I guess icantpauseitmom didn't hear him make his way through, and it was a beautiful attack with the LG. Didn't take too many cells, though, as icantpauseitmom was just kind of standing up there ready for the frag. Unfortunately, he didn't know that it was going to be his opponent's. But here we go. All right, we got discoRyne back into it here, moving across the map to get a grab for the rocket launcher. A Dire Orb might have gotten him there faster, but he wanted the opportunity to get a telefrag on icantpauseitmom. Didn't get either. Bit of an awkward fight, and especially one that means he didn't get a grab for the rocket launcher either.
Interesting start, you know, because it delays. It immediately puts, you know, separation between the two major items. So there's going to be a major fight right for heavy armor, like immediately. So this is big right now.
They both got rails now, and a beautiful play with the Dire Orb looking for the rail hit as well. He's going to get it, but it's going to be traded. He can make this a fairly safe grab of the armor as icantpauseitmom is stuck down at, what, like 2 or 3 health. He's going to be able to get this Mega as discoRyne comes in just a little bit too late and a little bit before he has a Dire Orb ready to go on the attack. So as they trade damage once again, they're both going to be licking their wounds, but with discoRyne coming into the armor, he's going to be really careful. He heard his opponent jumping next to him. He's down to 57 health. He's just looking to get more damage to the Dire Orb, and he gets it with the explosion there. Beautifully done.
With the delayed explosion.
Hooray!
Even.
Yeah.
That's really nice, yeah. You know, icantpauseitmom, just like his aim is really top notch. Yeah. I mean, seriously, just some more experience, you know, with Quake. You know, in just terms of getting that practice in Duel, there's no substitute for time. So I think he'll be a force to be reckoned with if he sticks with it. Really, I don't necessarily see him beating Disco today with the way it's going. I think Disco will probably have a little too much experience for him, but I can't count him out yet because he really has shown he's got a lot of natural ability, and you can tell he's picking up the game really quick. So
yeah, icantpauseitmom is doing everything he can not to get stuck in too many terrible situations. So he's giving himself enough time to kind of figure out how discoRyne works, and it looks like he might be putting together the start of a really good comeback here, just because he's done so much damage, and not only the damage itself, but the fact that he was able to completely get around discoRyne and put him in this bad situation. He's not quite going for the finisher. He doesn't want to risk getting railed off by discoRyne. As you mentioned, his aim is fantastic enough for icantpauseitmom to have to respect it.
Yeah, and Disco's, you know, he's a sharp player. He puts himself in good position. This isn't his first rodeo. You know, he's definitely played Quake. So yeah, it's got to be, again, at this level, it's always interesting to watch these games, how it really comes down to decision making. And, you know, there's landing your shots, but all these guys, man, they're so good. I mean, it really just comes down to me, decision making. Putting yourself in good position.
And icantpauseitmom is doing everything he can to do exactly that, but these little errant rails coming out of discoRyne, when you're a Nyx, you can put together a great plan, but the minute you take a rail, you have to go, all right, back to square one, and you need to set yourself back up again on the small armors, on the Mega if you can take it. And right now he's going to be taking away that heavy armor. Indeed. Well, actually, he's going back up towards rail. He might get caught here a little bit. He doesn't really have much opportunity to catch Disco either, as they both kind of lose track of each other. Disco's going to be on this corner. He's going to hear him come around it. Doesn't have the initial hit with the rocket. He's got him stuck up against the wall. Can he pummel him up there? The damage from the rockets is just too low to be consistent here, and he's going to get away with only 100 health left over.
Yeah, Disco really had him there. I think, oh, well, he had him there for sure. But icantpauseitmom, again, that comes down a little bit of experience. He mistimed, I think, the Ghost Walk, right? It was a good idea, but by the time he got to where he wanted to go, he came out of stealth a little too early, and Disco heard him and was ready for him.
I think now that we're seeing a visor coming out of icantpauseitmom, hopefully if he plays as cautiously as he was before, he can afford to take maybe another rail or two before having to break off the attack. I think the Nyx play out of icantpauseitmom is actually doing him more harm than good right now, because he's got the really great ideas, but he's just not able to get close enough to Disco to do the damage.
1 minute warning.
But as you hear it, 1 minute And 2 frags for icantpauseitmom to catch up here as discoRyne is starting to turtle up, enjoying the fact that he's got the armor stack. It's still 8 seconds before the armor comes up, and actually Disco's on the opposite end of the map. He's going to have to make a choice between the 2 items now. Nice little rocket pop there, and he catches him out on the drop down as well, baiting out the 25 pickup as discoRyne gets a beautiful read on pauseitmom, and now he can take away the Mega. That still allows pauseitmom to get the armor, but it's going to be a sorry prize as he's only got 30 seconds to make an attack happen.
Yeah, not looking good. I mean, you got a 2-0 lead. If you're Disco, you really just stay back and play defensive. You got a rocket, you got a decent stack. I mean, he's not going to get 2 frags, and I mean, this is a wrap in round 1. Well played by both guys. You can see the, I mean, at least I can see the experience difference. Oh, nice little thing, desperation there. It doesn't really matter in the end for icantpauseitmom, but you can see a little bit of experience difference, at least in my view. Just with the way they're moving around the map, the way they're making the decisions, you can see Disco's a little more polished than icantpauseitmom. But it's not over. It said pauseitmom has some great aim, has a lot of talent, that's for sure. And Disco's got to stay on his toes. He can't sleep on this guy.
Unfortunately for pauseitmom, he got a spawn that took him out of the run for an easy grab of an item, and he had to work a little bit just to get a railgun. So he's got the armor finally, but he invited a lot of damage from discoRyne, and if he's able to get out of this fight, it'll be a miracle. In fact, he did a lot of damage, but just cannot make the escape.
Yeah, again, just a good pursuit by Disco, and oh my goodness, yeah, beating that nail gun. Just again, this is coming down to experience. Where another big thing about Quake: when to engage, when not to engage, right? And you can see icantpauseitmom taking some engagements that maybe a more experienced Quake player might be. This is too risky. I could be railed or what have you. But you can tell he's probably pushed people around a little bit. 'Cause, as I mentioned, his aim is really good. So his combat skills are already excellent. So I can imagine in his previous matches he was just, pushing people around, and that makes things easier for you strategically. So now he's running into an experienced Quake player. Yeah, strategery, and he's running to an experienced guy who also can give as good as he gets, and that's when the mental aspect of the game really matters.
Absolutely, but Disco's actually risking a lot by sticking out there with 20 health. He's going to have to get back over to Mega, but it's not going to be up for a little bit. He's going to need this health, he's going to need this armor, and he's going to need a bit of luck to make sure that pauseitmom doesn't completely flood him with rockets and rails. There's the jump pad heard to Disco here. He's whipping around. He's looking a little bit nervous, but there's the Mega, and there's the 1 rail coming out of icantpauseitmom. Make that 2. He might be able to come back into this and put discoRyne on alert.
There's still plenty of time, even though he's behind early.
It's got to be incredibly tense when you're at 15 health, you're down at lower armor, and you hear Visor just literally tell you that he knows where you're at.
Yeah, it's not an area you want to be in. Nope. We've seen so many people get caught there below, and now icantpauseitmom going on a run here. I mentioned that aim of his. Now he has full control. This is where he's probably dangerous. As you want to keep the less experienced guy, right, trying to not be in control. It's much better for him to run around, right? I'm sure he's used to running around with control. But we'll see if he can make the most of it.
This 1 frag could spell out everything for him here on Blood Covenant. It would save him, but he's eating a lot of LG. The defensive, rockets are great, but not enough to slow down the train. That is that Scale Bear. GG called out an incredibly close one there at the end, but it will be Disco taking match point. Map point, rather.
Yeah, good play. Yeah, good play by Disco. Looks solid. I've seen him, like I mentioned, seen him in other games, other matches, and he's impressed me every time. So he's a very solid player. But icantpauseitmom for seeing him for the first time and now knowing that his background and he's switching over to Quake. Very talented, man. Very talented in his own right. Those rails he was landing 18 of 36, yeah. 50%. It's excellent play. Probably, I think, just like any new player to Quake, probably needs to work on the rocket launcher a little bit, and then of course just some of those, the engagement, choosing the engagements is so critical. And I'm sure he's used to it in UT, but it's a different game. So what engagements are good for you or not good for you. It's just, again, there's no substitute for practice and time. So
it was definitely one of those matches where neither player is really making too many overt mistakes. They're both, you know, keeping a lot of information close to their chest. They're trying to mask their position, mask their intent, mask their route, mask their rail angles, and both players did a fantastic job of it. Which means that you do end up, ironically, with more fights that occur with neither player really expecting it, because they're both trying to be so sneaky about it. And when we go over to Blood Run, there's still a lot of opportunity for that to happen. You have a lot more really dense audio cues. It's now harder here in the Quake Champions version of the map to get away with, you know, taking Mega, taking even the light armor in the upper room without your opponent knowing.
Yeah, you can really hear, you know, other areas, other rooms. So yeah, when they pick things up, the players on top of his sound cues, which, you know, a lot of these guys they've been putting in the work. You know, we're at that point now. So yeah, you pick something up, it's instantaneous. They know where they are. They might as well, they could put their mouse probably crosshair on you through the wall. I mean,
yeah,
when you pick something up.
We have actually seen that a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the really good ones, you know, the top level players, you know, what they'll do is they have that internal clock, and you know, you pick something up, and they'll make an, you know, an estimation about, hey, he's going to take this path, and then they shoot that rocket, and it's like they time it for you. How did he know? It's like it wasn't spam. It's a prediction rocket. It's like you can really time these shots, and some of the best, they're great at it. They really are. You come around the corner, and it's just like, it's the most disheartening thing. You know, eating a rail, eating a rocket. Right? You just come around the corner, and you're like, I got my stack. I'm ready to get offensive, and it's just like, I didn't even see the guy, and I just got nailed. You know, it's
Absolutely.
Like, what do you do?
But, you know, that can cut both ways. It's harder to keep that information close to your chest in Blood Run, but we've seen it happen. You just have to go really deep undercover. You need to go Dewey undercover. And I'm not sure either of these players are quite at that point where they're willing to slow down the game that much. You can see that they were still looking for opportunities at every moment to do a bit of damage on every item. And it created a great match on Blood Covenant. I'm expecting the same thing here on Blood Run.
Well, and the other thing you can do with sound cues is so since you know everybody can hear anything, make these reads, well, then you can make it interesting where you fake, you know, one direction, you hit the sound cue on purpose, right, and make the sound, and then you go quiet, and then you start making them think and second guess themselves a little bit. And it's amazing, all these mind games that go into Duel. You could talk for hours about it. I mean, there's just so many different scenarios that you can bring up. It really is endless. It's one of the things I've always loved about this game.
Absolutely, and I do also love the fact that we're seeing a Galena come out here. I think Blood Run is definitely one of the best maps for her. There are so many teleporters to play with. There's so many little tight corners where you think you're going to be getting around to safety, but bam, that totem can show up and ruin your day. Gonna have to see how well icantpauseitmom makes use of it.
See how sneaky he is.
Yeah.
The totems are always... I'd like to see a totem kill. I mean, right? I think they're fun, especially somebody coming through the portal and it's just like,
Or, you know, we risk also seeing a Ranger on Ranger Dire Orb on the Mega Health, which thankfully we haven't seen too much of this weekend. Oh man, that was just haunting my dreams for a while.
The other good use is when somebody is getting aggressive and you have a rocket launcher and you're playing defensive, and you know, you throw the totem in as they're diving in with the rocket at the same time, and if you hit them, it's like 175 instant damage. It's great.
Round begins in 3, 2.
All right, but here we go, guys.
Round 1.
icantpauseitmom and discoRyne. Map 2, it's up to discoRyne to win, but we're going to have to see how it goes.
Interesting pick here, in my view, because I'm wondering if he's aware that, you know, Blood Run has a lot of history in the Quake community, so I figured he might want to move away from, you know, something that the Quake players or, you know, someone a veteran might be a little more familiar with, right? Go to maybe Sarnath or even
That's a strong possibility, even though, I mean, this map is so popular. It's been ported to just about every first-person shooter on the planet, including Unreal. So it's doubtful that icantpauseitmom has no experience here. But of course, this version of Quake Champions has a lot of new wrinkles, a lot of new possibilities, both from the sound system and the new little routes added. You have this jump pad here. You have the great holes over the Mega Health. But of course, we have a lot of the usual tricks and traps available on the lower armor room over here, as well as all the teleporters.
Well, they got good taste over there in UT, taking a good, nice Quake map.
All right, so the damage trap is pretty real out of icantpauseitmom, but he doesn't see the play with the Dire Orb. It came at him way too fast. He's able to back out of the fight, and he takes a little bit of damage, or health rather, in the blood. And he's going for the Shadow Walk / jump. up to the armor. He's able to get the grab here, and discoRyne was looking for a lot of spam, but didn't get any damage on icant. Oh, jeez. He's got too many syllables in his name on icantpauseitmom.
Yeah, nice use of his ability there to get that heavy armor. He's gonna get a frag here. That was, yep.
And really good aggression there, realizing you've made that 100 damage Raka is enough to give anybody pause. icantpauseitmom just pushing in with that rail, nailing it in, and pushing discoRyne back down to a scale bearer.
Evened it up. Got some momentum here. His ability about to come up again, so he can make a nice aggressive play.
And immediately after making the frag, he goes quiet, and you can see how confused discoRyne is here. He's actually going to be going through the teleporter, and he still doesn't really have a great bearing on where pauseitmom's going to be at. Does he even have a rail yet? No, he's just throwing down some rockets onto the Mega, allowing pauseitmom to get a complete grab of that stack. Armor's going to be coming back up, and discoRyne's going to know exactly what's up this time around, but he's already taken a rail. He's got to start being really careful for this fight. He's going to leave it. Nice. pauseitmom just being really smart on the teleporter exits, just telling Disco, yeah, I know where you're at, and I know what I can do about it. And unlike Blood Covenant, where both players are kind of, you know, circling around each other and both going a little bit sneaky, so far pauseitmom has had complete dominance over discoRyne's position. Even out of the teleporter, I mean, discoRyne just doesn't know. He's able to do a ton of damage with the charge from Scalebearer, a really good reflex there, but the last rocket gets the last word, as we now have Nyx on Blood Run. Oh, what a classic pairing.
Yeah, good read by icantpauseitmom and a misread by Disco coming through the teleporter. Obviously didn't have a track on, you know, where he was, and ran around the corner into some rockets. So nice trap, and well executed, you know, to get the kill.
All right, so Pause is taking a little bit of damage here. We have 3 seconds to armor. He's taking an early Shadow Walk just to do the damage, and that was actually totally worthwhile. It doesn't take too many of those to completely ruin a Nyx's day. But that will apply for both of them, of course, here, as we have Mega coming up in 3 seconds. Pause is going to be attacking from the LG, and yeah, discoRyne's going to know for once this round what's up with that, and is going to be spamming it off. That's enough information for Pause to just go, nope, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, no ability up, so he's going to make sure he doesn't do anything too foolish. But yeah, he's playing him smart right now. Doing okay. I like the aggressive use. He's staying aggressive with the Nyx ability. I think that's really important for her. Is not to be on the defensive. I saw it. Yep.
Oh, the rocket play, and this is both Nyx's without their Ghost Walk available. It's going to be pauseitmom getting out of there with 34 health left over. discoRyne coming back in twice for a little bit of one more shot itis, but he doesn't get punished for it. I mean, he had everything to play for and only 2 health to use.
He just rocket Disco. Oh, this is a mistime error. He should have had that heavy. 3 health.
Oh,
rocket jump
around the corner. Didn't take much.
On him. Yeah. Okay, so first time he rocket jumped up there and had 2 health left when he rocket jumped up to the Tri-Bolt. And he grabbed the 2 health bubbles. And then he obviously didn't have timing on the heavy armor because he dropped down the Mega right when the heavy armor is popping up, and then he rocket jumped again to go back up there and ended up with 3 health. The second time when he grabbed the armor, and then he ran around the corner and got that rocket for the health. Just a little careless, I think, on his part there.
Oh man, and beautiful shot on the spawn. I mean, that corner by the rocket launcher, you have to be really careful when you spawn up there, and sometimes if you have a Ghost Walk available, use it immediately. Get out of there, but don't take that rail spam. That's exactly what pauseitmom did. Enough to give him pause for sure. He's going to be looking for a bit of armor. He's still railable here until something comes up for him. Mega's going to be up. He's going to be making the push in. He doesn't have a Ghost Walk available, though. This is so dangerous, so risky. And he throws the frag away as he gets pushed down to Galena. And once again, gets the same spawn and the same sort of spam. He's able to recover on a very early totem. And yeah, sometimes that's where you need to use that ability right away.
Yeah, that's we've seen it over and over again. When somebody gets a frag, you know, kind of look over there at that rocket launcher area. Very common spawn.
All right, but as icantpauseitmom is looking to slow this match down and get a couple more frags under his belt, Galena is a great way to do that. We're seeing, again, both players really try to route around the map in order to catch each other. But now we have the added flavor of those totems that could indeed catch discoRyne, give icantpauseitmom a lot of information as well as the damage.
Doesn't, you can tell he doesn't really have timings down there for Mega, just kind of waiting for it.
Yeah. He should be able to
Always
back out
dangerous
here.
when you're waiting for items.
He was just a little bit too far forward there. His extraction from that fight was a little bit messier than I'm sure he wanted, but he has the 225s and an armor to recover on, even a totem if he so chooses.
My life sustains you.
All right, so back over the top here.
Very exposed down in that Mega hallway. You got to be careful sitting down there like that.
A little bit of time before armor comes back up, and Paz is actually looking for discoRyne to come through the upper armor room, but nope, it's going to be taken and gone. That Ranger can take away that armor so quickly with the Dire Orb. Oh, there's the Mega up, and he's looking to bait it, but he comes around the corner instead and just lays down a barrage of rockets, making this whole fight incredibly risky. Even with the 80 health that he has, he's going to need to dip a toe in the blood to stay alive. Oh, nice rail. And he commits to the Dire Orb, but there's the LG. We didn't have the response. You see the switch over to the rocket launcher, but it was a little bit too late. I don't think either player really understood what the consequences of committing to that Dire Orb would turn into, but there it is, one-on-one.
3, 2.
Well, you know, the big thing was the rail shot, and I think Disco rightly recognized the, you know, the advantage in stack that he had. So he forced the issue there a bit and was willing to take a hit to force an engagement. So, and then of course, you know, icantpauseitmom not having a rocket launcher out, choosing to go with the rail shot, the delay between the shots, and then you up in a close quarters battle, even though he hit the shot, it doesn't matter at that point, because now you're just sitting there, and by the time, by the time he could switch weapons because of the reload time, he was dead.
Yep.
So it was a good play by Disco.
A really closely timed one for sure, but there's a little bit of damage from the Dire Orb. icantpauseitmom and Disco both on Ranger at this point, and a nice little bit of a rocket dink there. 20 damage is certainly going to help out, as they both have plenty of reason to dive in for this armor, but pauseitmom's going to have to dive off and see if he can get one more rail on the drop. He's looking for it, but he's already across on the catwalk.
He got away with one there. I thought he rocket jumped into Disco, who had a good position and a decent stack, so he was a little fortunate to get away with that that rocket jump there.
Absolutely. So as the first minute clocks on down, we'll be looking for a little bit of a play around the pillar, but now pauseitmom is on alert. He's at 78 health, needs to back out of there, as I'm sure discoRyne is looking for the hunt, looking for the chase. He's just going to peek around the corner at the 225s to see if he's up there, but he knows that knows that Paz is still up at the upper armor room. But here's the drop down to Mega. I mean, this is something that pauseitmom just doesn't have any information coming into. It's going to be really messy on the Dire Orb on the Mega play. He's able to get it, and 1 HP. Can he survive this? No, there's the rocket to pull him on down.
That's, I think that just goes back to, you can just see that, I think that's a little lack of experience, I really do. I think a little more experience in Quake, you would choose not to be maybe in some of these positions that he's doing right now.
A mutual frag is bad news for both of them, as it's going to turn into a fresh Galena versus a fresh Scalebearer with Mega coming up, so it's a huge bet for both of them to show up. Disco is going to be sneaking out with the armor, but this is going to pull him out of the fight for the Mega. He's got a rocket, he's got a rail, he's going to come back into it. He's just going to try to make something happen with this bull rush, but it doesn't quite go his way. The rail is fantastic, though, as both players are incredibly weak, limping away from that fight. The armor's going to be up, and it's going to be maybe too dangerous for either of them to get, especially with that beautiful defensive rail from pauseitmom, but he comes back in for it. The one more shot itis is finally paying off, as he's able to take the round away.
Prepare to fight.
Yeah, just great shooting there. Came back, you know, he only had 20 health, so it was really risky. You know, but he knew his guy was low too, and he was willing to go for it, came in and landed the shot that he needed to, so well done by Disco to seal that round.
All right, this is game, set, and match point here for discoRyne if he can pull this one together, and his shots have just been barely able to edge things out on pauseitmom as they even trade rails here, but there's the shot from pauseitmom getting himself back into the game.
Yeah, great shooting from him. We've seen it from him time and time again. This guy's definitely got lights out railgunning.
He's got to be really careful coming up this jump pad. He's going to be fairly weak against a freshly spawned Scalebearer. He's able to take away the 25s. Mega's going to be up and taken. Armor's going to be up and probably trapped here. He's going to hear him down below getting that railgun. He's going to be expecting it, and there's the, well, the fakie on the drop. Dire Orb pulling him out of that situation just in time, but now he's going to lose track of where discoRyne's going for. He's making a bet on the upper armor room, but we can see discoRyne down there by the Mega instead. Yeah, you can see that discoRyne's making a bet about the Mega play just because he's thinking, hey, bull rush, long hallway, it sort of speaks for itself. But PauseitMom is getting some bad flashbacks here. Doesn't want to allow it to happen again. Okay, he's just going to leave it up. He's going to go for the armor trade instead.
Yep, he rocket. That was nice defensive play. Just reverse rocket jumped out of there.
Beautiful dire orb to save his life there. That rocket popping him off the platform and almost bringing him down into the eagerly waiting arms of discoRyne. Here comes the bull rush, and that rocket jump is once again going to keep him alive here. But he's still on the run, and discoRyne is still looking for the fight. He's got so much health to use in this. As with Mega coming back up, this is going to be really dangerous. A dire orb could save him, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, just straight line into an LG stream on, and then right off the spawn. I mean, it's got man.
Yeah, discoRyne's play on the spawn has just been impeccable. Make that 2 frags, turning that spawn into an early grave, and a GG from icantpauseitmom and discoRyne. discoRyne saving the day there and coming back in to move forward into the top 8.
Yeah, I think after that second one, he should have just bolted. I mean, all you can do is make a run for it at that point and get out of there. Trapping yourself in the corner and playing peekaboo with the machine gun. I know your options aren't great at that point. I know, you're like, oh no, I spawned. But you just get out of there. Just go. Just run. Don't sit there. Don't give him a chance to think about, oh, I got him trapped. Just get out of there so fast. He's like, you make the other guy think, oh, dang it, I had him there. I'm gonna spawn again. So. But good work by discoRyne. You can see the experience, and I would just say icantpauseitmom, stick with it. Very talented player, obviously. So I just needs a little more experience. I think some of those engagements he got caught, coming into the Mega Health area, coming down through that hallway and running into an LG stream like that. I mean, these are things that you get more experience as a duelist that to kind of stay away from, and you can sense those things, and maybe you take a different position, shoot maybe some rockets down there, peak rails, etc., and just try to avoid those situations where you're taking too much damage too fast and you can't get out, right? And you just get fragged.
But at the same time, both players, they were showing a lot of respect to each other. There was a lot of really risky plays where you just have to go, all right, maybe if I just come back around this corner for one more rail, it'll be worthwhile. And I think we saw a really high-quality match. I want to see those guys play each other more, honestly. And, you're talking about experience, and you're absolutely right, but this was a great weekend for icantpauseitmom to get that experience. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more out of him in the future, just not in this tournament.
Yeah, no, I think he did very well. As I mentioned, coming over from another game, you can see the talent he has in the aim. But Quake really does come down to mental plays in the end. So, in the end, like I mentioned, all these guys are talented. Everybody can hit shots. All these guys are good. Everybody can play games. We're all human here. Everybody has talent, and
mostly
it really comes down to mostly. But it's just down to controlling emotions, thinking clearly, and practice, being sharp, and just reading your opponent. There's a lot into it. Just the mental and emotional, psychological aspect of this game is really critical.
All right, but next up, we've got a fresh, hot serving of Tom Servo and Boots coming your way. As we are now getting close to halfway through our 8 matches. We've got a long way to go, but we've been having high-quality matches the whole way through. Really fantastic stuff, really brutal stuff. And again, the thing I'm loving more and more about Quake Champions Duel is that with the lower TTK and the higher emphasis on, strategery and item play, you see a lot of just huge dynamic shifts in the game. Things can change in an instant.
Yeah, it definitely encourages, I think, more ambushes and traps and not so much of the back and forth item running. I think you can make a sacrifice sometimes for items to get a trap, because like you mentioned, the time to kill is so much shorter. You land a good rocket rail combo, you do 180 damage to somebody right away. I mean, what champions can really take that in this game, unless you're fully stacked clutch, and even then that's taking half the stack away from a fully stacked clutch. So it's really, you got to be really careful. I think reading your opponent is extremely important, and that's why you can see the players who are excelling in this game really seem to be laying those traps, landing that initial rocket, landing that initial rail, right, getting that advantage stack, and then pushing and taking advantage of the kill opportunities, because you only get three deaths in this. So being able to take advantage of that opportunity to get the frag, I think, is really critical, because if you miss it and your opponent restacks, and then we've seen it swing, next thing you know, you're in a bad spot, and then they get the frag. getting somebody down to 10 health all the time, all match, does you nothing. You need to get that finishing shot. It's just so important to get the finish.
And if I can soapbox at all, I mean, if I'm ever asked about the essence of, and we're going to lose all the viewers here, if I'm ever asked about the essence of Quake Duel, it's about that actual disparity between the two players. You don't have two players who are actually equal because one guy's going to have a rocket launcher, the other guy's not. One guy's going to have the mega health, the other guy's not. And I'm happy to see that the champions aspect added to the game has not only maintained that aspect, but kind of magnified it. You're absolutely right. When you're a Nyx playing up against